Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, in today's podcast, we have some exciting topics to talk about today. So get comfortable and let's dive right in. Today, we are going to learn about two really interesting things. First is India's relationship with the United States, and a new educational scheme called the PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme. Both of these topics might sound a bit grown ups, but don't worry, we'll break it down so easy. It's easy, to so that you will all understand it. So, first, let's talk about India and the United States. Now, we know that Donald Trump has won the election, right? So, when we talk about India and US relation, see, India uh, and US have a long history of working together, but it's not always been an easy road. It's kind of like making a new friend at school. You might not be the best friends right away, but over time, you start to learn more about each other, and then you start building a trust. Well, that's exactly what happened between India and the United States, especially during the presidency of Donald Trump, who was the US president from 2017 to 21। 2017 से 21 तक डोनाल्ड ट्रंप यूएस प्रेसिडेंट थे, और अभी इलेक्शन फिर से उन्होंने जीत लिया है। तो इस आर्टिकल में बेसिकली क्या हम डील करेंगे कि अ, जो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का पहला प्रेसिडेंटशिप थी, यानी कि ट्रंप 1.1 1.0 में क्या क्या इंडिया और यूएस के रिलेशन थे, कैसे रिलेशन थे, कहाँ कहाँ किस सेक्टर्स में कोऑपरेशन किया, और क्या क्या challenges थे, right? So during Trump's time as a president, India and the US got closer than ever. Why? For a few reasons. First, both countries saw the value in working together in defense. Yes, working together in defense, right? And you know how superheroes sometimes join forces to defeat bigger villain? Well, India and the US joined forces to fight terrorism, which is when groups use violence to create fear and chaos. And right, so US supported India in, you know, labeling certain terrorist leaders as threats to global security, which helped India in its fight against terrorism. तो हुआ क्या था बेसिकली, जब हम पहले की बात करते हैं, तो उस टाइम पर इंडिया और यूएस के बीच के जो रिलेशन है, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के फर्स्ट टर्म के टाइम पे 2017 या 2021 के टाइम पे, इस टाइम पर इंडिया बिकेम more than just a friend to the US. It became what they called an indispensable partner. Right? That means India became a country that US couldn't imagine its future without. So defense and terrorism की बात कर रहे थे, तो during this time US and India they worked together to make sure that both countries were safe. For example, after an attack in India in 2019, yes, 2019 का जो अटैक था, तो यूएस ने इंडिया का सपोर्ट किया था, किसमें? मसूद अजहर, एक जो ग्लोबल टेररिस्ट था, यस, जैश ए मोहम्मद का जो ग्लोबल जो चीफ था मसूद अजहर, उसको लेबल करने में कि ये global terrorist है. And this was a big deal because it meant that US and India were showing the world that they were standing together against threats. So that's like having a friend who always has your back, even if it's a tough situation. Another area of teamwork was defense technology. डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी में भी इंडिया और यूएस ने काम किया था. इमेजिन यू हैव अ फ्रेंड हु हैज एक्सेस टू रियली कूल गैजेट्स एंड दे ट्रस्ट यू सो मच दे लेट यू बोरो देम. दिस इज सॉर्ट ऑफ व्हाट हैपेंड विद इंडिया एंड द यूएस. यूएस ने क्या किया? यूएस ने अलाउ किया कि इंडिया डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी यूएस की जो कि एडवांस है उसको खरीद सके. सो इट हेल्प्ड India improve its army equipment, right? So with these tools, India could be even more prepared for any challenges. And speaking of gadgets, here's something cool. The US and India even worked on energy. Energy पे भी काम किया था, right? The two countries made a deal where India could start, uh, you know, buying oil and natural gas from the US. Okay, जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा है import crude and LNG from the US, right? So it helped India get more energy to power homes, cars, factories, you name it. This new friendship in energy made the US one of India's biggest partners in fuel energy. ओके, तो इसकी वजह से ही यूएस इंडिया का सिक्स लार्जेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन इंपोर्ट्स बन गया था. नाउ so you can see from all these things that the friendship between India and US isn't just about meetings and handshakes. It's about real teamwork in important areas like safety, technology, and energy. Now, of course, every friendship has its ups and downs, right? So the US at times wished India could make its trade rules a bit more relaxed. Okay, so that's what you can call some of the challenges which India uh, and US relationship had at that time. The US, they wanted that India make its trade rules a bit more relaxed, कि थोड़े lenient कर दिया जाए. This would, allow American products to be sold in India more easily. Also, there was one moment when President Trump he basically offered to, uh, you know, help India and Pakistan with their issues. But at that time, इंडिया ने क्या कहा कि भाई ये हमारा मामला है. And India didn't really want this help because they preferred handling their own matters. So while they are good friends, they sometimes need to set boundaries, just like in any friendship. तो यहाँ पर जैसे आप पढ़ोगे तो आपको पता चलेगा कि यूएस ने ट्राई किया था ट्रम्प के प्रेसिडेंटशिप में इंटरवीन करने में, इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा था उस टाइम पे, लेकिन इंडिया ने कहा कि हम अपने मैटर्स खुद हैंडल कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो दैट वाज व्हाट दिस आर्टिकल इज ऑल अबाउट. और ऑल्सो यहाँ पे एक चाइना, एक फैक्टर जो है दोनों के बीच में आप देख सकते हैं कि चाहे इंडिया के लिए देखें तो चाइना का जो ग्रोइंग इन्फ्लुएंस है वो कैसे एक चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है, वैसे ही सेम यूएस के लिए भी. सो चाइना रिमेन्स कॉमन राइवल एंड the most significant contribution of Donald Trump was to firmly establish China as a strategic threat and a rival. Okay, that was, a most significant contribution done during the प्रेसिडेंटशिप ऑफ डोनाल्ड ट्रंप. ऑलराइट, तो ये आर्टिकल था किसके रिगार्डिंग था? डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के प्रेसिडेंटशिप, जब पहले 2017 से 21 तक जो प्रेसिडेंटशिप थी उस टाइम पर इंडिया और यूएस के कैसे रिलेशन थे और क्या क्या किन किन सेक्टर्स में कोऑपरेशन किया, क्या क्या चैलेंजेस आए, राइट? नाउ let's move on to something closer to home for all of you students, an exciting new scheme that could help students across India, right? तो इसके बारे में आज हम पढ़ेंगे. क्या है ये स्कीम? बेसिकली यस, पीएम विद्या लक्ष्मी scheme for higher education gets nod. Now let's talk about this new scheme. Have you ever thought about what you want to be when you grow up? Yes, you did, right? Maybe some of you want to be a scientist, an artist, a doctor, or even a teacher. Whatever your dream job is, you probably know that you need to study hard and go to college or university
to learn all the skills needed for that career. But here's the thing, going to college can cost a lot of worry. And many students in India and all over the world worry about how they will pay for college. That's where the PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme comes in, right? So, this scheme is like a helping hand from the government, right? And if a student gets accepted into one of India's top colleges or universities, PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme will help them get a loan from bank. Okay, तो क्या हेल्प होगी कि अगर कोई स्टूडेंट है, वो किसी टॉप कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटी में उसका सिलेक्शन हो जाता है, तो पीएम विद्या लक्ष्मी स्कीम के थ्रू उसे बैंक से लोन लेने में सहायता मिलेगी, राइट? And what is a loan? Yes, this is for the students of class 4th. What is a loan? A loan is money that you borrow to pay for something like college and you pay it back later. So with PM Vidya Lakshmi, students don't need to worry about having someone like their parents to back them up as a guarantor. All right. They don't need to put up anything valuable like property as collateral. So it's like borrowing money with fewer strings attached. क्या होता है अगर आप अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ डिस्कस कर सकते हो, whenever you go to a loan, whenever you go to a bank to secure any loan, right? So the people in bank they ask for a guarantor. ओके, क्या वो बोलते हैं एक गारंटर होना चाहिए और प्रॉपर्टी होनी चाहिए एज कोलेट्रल, राइट? तभी तो आपको लोन देंगे, ऐसे थोड़ी ना दे देंगे, राइट? पर इस स्कीम के अंडर अगर कोई स्टूडेंट लोन सिक्योर करता है तो उसको इतनी सारी चीजें बैंक को शो करने के लिए जरूरत ही नहीं है, राइट? So let's break it down further. uh, this scheme basically covers 860 quality higher education institutions. Okay, तो अगर कोई स्टूडेंट है, if any student gets into one of these schools, they are eligible for a loan that can pay for their tuition fees, which is the cost of, what is the tuition fees? It's the cost of attending classes, right? So they can they are eligible for loan, and this loan, it will help them with other expenses like buying books, getting a laptop, or even covering their rent if they are living in a hostel. And get this, the government has set aside 3600 crore rupees to make sure that as many as 22 lakh students can benefit from this scheme over the next few years. Now, that's a huge number, right? The goal is to make sure that the students who work hard and have big dreams aren't held back just because of money. And here's another cool part, if the loan is up to 7.5 lakh, the government will back the loan with a 75% guarantee. Now, this makes banks more willing to lend money because they know they have government support if something goes wrong. अगर कुछ गलत हो भी जाता है, जैसे स्टूडेंट्स नहीं पे कर पाते हैं, तो गवर्नमेंट तो है ही, गवर्नमेंट तो सपोर्ट कर ही रही है, तो वो लोन उसको सपोर्ट करेगी. So imagine what this means for students all over India. A student in a small town with big dreams of becoming an engineer, doctor, or scientist now has a real chance to go to a top school without worrying about finances. And in the future, maybe some of you listening today could be among the students who benefit from this scheme, right? And students, here's another keyword mentioned in this news article. Yes, just a second. Yes, this scheme is a सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम। क्या यहाँ पे बोला गया है कि ये जो स्कीम है वो क्या है, सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम है। नाउ व्हाट इज अ सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम, है ना। सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम क्या होता है, नाउ लेट्स जस्ट ब्रेक इट डाउन। सी, a central sector scheme is a program that's fully funded by the central government of India। अगर कोई भी स्कीम आती है, इंट्रोड्यूस होती है, तो जैसे इनिशिएटिव या स्कीम कोई भी इंट्रोड्यूस होता है गवर्नमेंट का, तो उसमें क्या होता है, जो अमाउंट होती है, कुछ अमाउंट इज सपोर्टेड बाय स्टेट्स एंड कुछ अमाउंट इज सपोर्टेड बाय सेंटर, मतलब सेंटर पे जो गवर्नमेंट है, राइट। बट सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम पे क्या है, this scheme is fully funded by the central government, the government which is at the center, and they don't take any financial help from the states. So all the money for PM Vidya scheme is coming from the central government's budget, and this is different from other programs where both the central and state governments share the cost। okay, तो एक सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम होती है और एक होती है सेंट्रल सेंट्रल स्पॉन्सर्ड स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम। ओके, सेंट्रल स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम। तो सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम में क्या है, द कॉस्ट इज entirely handled by the center, the government which is at the center, but central sponsored scheme mein cost is basically divided between state government and central government। All right, so that's a wrap on today's episode. We learned a lot, didn't we? We talked about the growing friendship between India and the United States, especially in areas like defense, energy, and dealing with China, right? Then we learned about this amazing scheme, uh, and which is going to help thousands of students across India achieve their educational dreams. So, thanks for tuning in today. And remember, whether it's international relations or educational opportunities, these are all parts of what shapes our future. Right? So keep learning, stay curious, and until next time, take care.